Weeks went by, and the routine of school/play became a pattern of comfortable goofiness. Test of strength was a parlor trick that came my way from some forgotten source, was anxious to make my first victim look like a fool. Afternoon recess was just enough time for me to play a dupe or two. This time, I worked the inner circle. A good prank and its build-up were always appreciated amongst those that were the usual perpetrators. Intended to play Randy and Marco off each other, in crisp autumn air, I broached the topic of personal strength and physical ability. Point blank, asked both burly boys who was stronger. Debate was on. My trap set. As they squabbled, I butted in, said I could settle the matter with a simple test of strength. Who would like to go first? Randy insisted on being number one. I explained how it worked and positioned him to begin the test. This is a resistance test that will measure your pulling power. Stand with your back against the wall, spoke with my professional 12-year-old intonation. Had Randy up against the school wall and further instructed him to slide his back down the wall and squat. Sat on his heels and leaned against the wall. Perfect position. Now, put your elbows on your knees. He did. Make two fists. Good. Trap set. I'm going to test your strength by holding onto your fists. You need to pull like you're doing a bicep curl. Randy was under the spell of the test. Pulled back his paws with all my weight and slowly let him draw closer to his face with both fists. When his bare knuckle sandwiches were 4 inches from his face and he strained with effort, BAM! Sprung the trap, let go of his fists, both slammed into his face just below his eyes.
Oh, no.
By the time he stumbled out of his squat, I had a 3-step head start. As we raced across the playground, I heard Marco roar with delight as Randy's steps closed in on mine. My perfect timing had me 2 paces ahead of my madman as the bell to end recess sounded. Randy swore vengeance as we tumbled back to class. Marco showed serious signs of a side ache. With 2 welts under his eyes, Randy had certainly proven his strength. Tried to convince him he was so strong his fists had slipped out of my weaker grip. I sold it, but he didn't buy it. Randy's after-school headlock grew tighter and the noogies on my noggin more intense. Marco could only split one more side with sustained laughter. Worth it, definitely worth it. At the end of the school was a fenced area. Preserve of the tards. Retarded kids had their own play area and private entrance, could receive air and have a chance at falling off monkey bars like the rest of us. Fence kept us separated, and their recess was at a different time. Our paths rarely crossed. One bright fall day, for some reason, they were out at the same time. Someone shouted, "Hey, the tards are out!"
Oh my gosh.
Right. Shouldn't use the word tard, but we always did. The formal word of retard was used when proper speech or addressing an adult was called for. On a playground in the 1970s, political crapness didn't exist. Tard it was. A few of us ran over to take a look at the group of abnormal youngsters. They looked right back at us. When the looking was over, they went back to playing their games. At a certain point, just 3 of us, 3 stooges, were left to contemplate the scene. What to do about a group of tards? They had us outnumbered. Chain link fence was a good buffer. Marco said they had tard strength and you shouldn't rile them. What to do?
Oh my goodness.
Clinging to the fence and kicking at some of the pea gravel spilling out of their special playground, I struck upon an idea. Maybe we can throw some of this little gravel at them. We all agreed that would be splendid.
Oh, you're so bad.
Before you knew it, a shower of pebbles rained on the tards. Their comic antics of running about as though the sky were falling kept us highly amused. Most highly. All too soon the bell called us back to class. Reign of terror was over. Comfortable in our desks and basking in the glow of a job well done, we looked forward to an afternoon of learning. Crackle of the intercom. Would Marco Litvack, Randy S., and Monty McGale proceed to the principal's office?
You deserved it. You deserved it.
Birds did their job as we asked ourselves probing questions while heading down the halls. Do those tards know our names? Who ratted us out? Is a mad tard really as strong as a gorilla? Principal greeted us with his customary calm that put us all at ease. Gentlemen, would you like to tell me what you were up to during recess? His lackadaisical attitude practically made you utter a full and embellished confession, if only to bring some life to his face. Come on, smile, frown, yell, do something. We animatedly told of our rain of pebbles in hopes of getting a rise from his emotionless visage. Nothing. For teasing tards on school property, he pronounced 4 strikes per hand. Yes,
What?
he said tard. Fall became winter, skulls numbed. An Edmonton, Alberta dark season can be quite trying. School lets out at 3:30 as the winter sun sets. Young feet keep moving to stay warm. There was one pursuit that always had you on the run: bumpering. Grabbing any vehicle's back bumper, squatting and holding on for the ride, boots were mini skis. Icy roads lasted the better part of 6 months. No matter how much sand or salt was applied, ample snowfall kept all side streets and many major arteries coated with packed ice and bordered by huge piles of snow. Winter wonderland. Cars turned corners slow enough in the slick conditions that 3 or 4 bumpering urchins could scramble from the cover of snowbank and latch on. Every vehicle, large or small, had a big metal bumper and was eligible for our nimble grasp. Then glide and ride. Should you be the unfortunate person on the outer edge that received the full blast of odorous exhaust, this was a small price to pay for wintry transport. Home from school, you could easily bumper 2 or 3 cars 90% of the way. No one was ever hurt or wore any protective gear.
Oh, you were lucky. Oh my gosh, so dangerous.
Nor did we ever hear of any driver leaving his or her vehicle to do something about it. Most were never aware, and who in their right mind is going to exit a warm car, truck, or bus at 30 degrees below zero in the dark? Who?
Oof.
Greatest bumpering thrill was when a driver knew you were latched on and had the driving skill to try and fishtail you off. A rare catch indeed. Vehicles never followed too close, as the risk of sliding into a vehicle that had kids clinging to its bumper was a regular sight. Always time to scramble out of the way. Bumpering, a perfect winter sport. Highly recommend it.
Oh
Oh,
no.
yes. Group of us bumpered behind one of the city buses that stopped outside of school. Easiest vehicles to snag. Wide rear bumper, room for 8. Cheek to cheek. Tight group of dingbats. Transport comes to a complete stop so all can board. Bus roared off with 8 of us clinging to its rear as the warm sun shone on our backs. 2 blocks later, all of us tumbled onto a dry, black patch of asphalt. Spring had sprung,
Oh no.
and another season of bumpering ended. Return of green to Edmonton. Brief period of growth and renewal was anticipated by all, none more so than us kids, in the elements every day. Our West Edmonton neighborhood was home to one of the greatest swimming pools the city had to offer. Just a stone's throw from home sat the Fred Broadstock Pool, named after a local politician who distinguished himself by serving his fellow man. Hi, my name is Fred. I'm from the government. I'm here to help. Fred's pool was a mecca. and drew from an area rich in kids looking to become wet. School year was a few weeks from letting out for summer. Special announcement was made. There will be an afternoon of swimming at the Broadstock Pool on Wednesday, the 23rd of June. 1 week away, and 2 days before summer vacation. Big day arrived. Boys' change room at the pool was awash with skinny, white kids in various stages of undress, scrambling to put on trunks on pale butts. Marco, Randy, and I did the same. Slipping on his suit, Marco caught the eye of Randy and myself. Something wasn't right. Randy asked, "What's that?" pointing at Marco's midsection. "My trunks." "We can see that, but what is it?" I queried. "My mom made 'em," he said matter-of-factly. "Yes, she did." Swimsuit knit of wool, like a sweater.
Oh my gosh.
Dark blue, tiny holes between each knot revealed snippets of his contrasting flesh. Upon closer examination, you could make out Marco's manhood. "Marco, we can see your Weegnor," I said as I bent and pointed, shrugged his shoulders, and yelled, "Last one in is a rotten egg." Fred's pool was made of 2 areas: expansive swimming zone with great surrounds of concrete, and the tank. Tank was situated at the far end of the regular pool, an elevated area strictly for diving. Huge cube of water that served as the landing zone was a deeper blue, owing to its depth of 12 feet, no shallow zone. A diver could choose between springboards of 1 and 3 meters, or she could scale the huge concrete platforms that towered over the neighborhood at 5 and 10 meters.
Wow.
Pool teemed with kids as the 3 of us threw our towels onto a patch of sunny concrete and briskly walked to the water's edge. "No running!" came the command from our overlord/lifeguard. Waiting for a slight space between kids, Marco was the first to plunge headfirst into the cool water. Randy and I watched as Marco's body cut through the inviting liquid. His beautiful pair of dark blue wool trunks lay on the surface, exactly where they had first met with the water's resistance.
Oh no!
Re-
Trunks.
Realizing his situation, Marco slowly tiptoed in the 4-foot depth of water to his rapidly expanding drawers. Randy and I stood there as the dark blue patch of wool doubled in size. Latched onto his prize, Marco wrestled his wiener wrapper back on and one-handed climbed the ladder out of the pool. At the sight of him using one hand to control his super sagging swimsuit while bounding up the ladder caused Randy and I no end of convulsions. Suit didn't even have a drawstring. "Come on, let's go to the dive tank," Marco urged. Half of his gleaming white ass was exposed as he tried to rope in his wet wool wrapper. Marco had hold of the front of it with one hand as if it were the horn of a saddle. Strutted toward the dive tank as though he owned the place, walking tall. Randy and I plunged off the 1-meter springboard as Marco's progress up the 3-meter was slightly hampered by his one-handed climbing
I can't
technique.
believe he continued on with his bathing suit falling off. Oh my gosh.
Nevertheless, he launched into a flawless rendition of a splashy Nagasaki ass bomb, aka cannonball. Lovely. We were amused. Pulled himself up the tank's ladder and had more droop to his drawers than before. Using both hands, he wrung out the excess wool that protruded from his crotch and lightened his load by a gallon. Randy and I, delighted, hooted accordingly. Pith-helmeted tanned guard in his high chair grinned and shook his head. 3-meter springboard offered a view of the surroundings that not even standing on the roof of your house could. Deck of the tank was at least 10 feet above street level. Couple that with standing on the board, and your eyes were 20 feet above your accustomed viewpoint. Enjoyment of the scenery was shattered as a dark blue blob flew off the 5 meter platform with Marco accompanying it.
Oh my goodness.
I broke the water's surface as bubbles came from my nose, heady with mirth of Marco's flight. From the street, the 5 meter concrete structure looked almost delicate compared to its bigger 10 meter brother. Ascending the lower platform's many step was an exercise in courage. Atop its solid surface, one had to adjust to its feel and width, lost in space. Looking down at the water, you wondered how far into the 12 feet you would thrust. One instruction: if you jump, keep your feet together. Marco made his way up. I didn't want the two of us on the platform, as I had visions of me laughing and pointing and losing my balance and doing harm to myself in a pratfall from on high. I leapt into the breach. Smack of water on the soles of my feet was a sharp sting. It paled in comparison to the surface tension of water punching my pre-teen testes.
Oh.
Feet too far apart, murmured to self while slowly and painfully making my way to the laughter. A smile had been wiped from my face. Marco bypassed the boyish platform and was at the edge of the manly 10 meter. Holding his baggy bloomers, he and his large wedge of a head followed his feet into water with barely a splash. Style and grace, even with a train of baggy bloomers. When I had recovered my senses, it was time to go all the way. Numerous ladders were scaled to mount the 10 meter launch pad. With every step, the view and perspective of the world grew more ponderous. Standing on its breeze-swept surface and looking down at the dark blue postage stamp-sized surface of water gave an uneasy feeling in the legs. No handle within easy grasp to bring stability. Faced with the decision, standing there and totter, letting your mind have the better of you, or take a leap. Sailing towards the water at the speed of 32 feet per second squared, I consciously thought of having my feet firmly together and pointed. Entry was a breeze. Slicing into the volume of water at such speeds takes a body to new depths. Pressure on head and view from the bottom of the tank all added to the experience. 10 meter was now our leap of choice. Left lesser levels to the children.
Oh.
Marco's confidence, unlike mine, needed no boosting. Even with a handful of wool shorts, he stood there in the water's reflected sparkle like Michelangelo's David. I lay face down on the warm concrete. Water dripped from my body, breathed in the smell of freshly mown grass with just a hint of chlorine. Hot sun baked my back, closed my eyes and smiled. Summer had arrived. 2 weeks later, our family packed the contents of the red house into a truck and moved back to Lloydminster. Amazing how the lives of 9 people and their earthly chattel can be boxed and crammed into the back of a 5-ton moving van. Some of your existence reduced to cardboard boxes, ones that usually had bananas or British Columbia Macintosh apples festooned on their sides. Paring down was not without drama. "You don't need that," Mother announced. "I know I don't need it, Mummy dearest, but you see, in my young life, full of uncertainties and many moves, I've grown attached to a few of these baubles as a form of emotional anchor that gives me a constant in a sea of change. It may seem trivial to you, but I find their worn edges, their feel, and yes, even their smells as small reassurances in this race we call rat. Could you find it somewhere in your heart to spare me this tiny indulgence?" Of course, none of those words made it past my lips. I had the feeling rattling around somewhere inside, but could never find the brain power to form its concept into recognizable words. All that came out was a whimpered, "But Mom." Garbage cans filled with slices of life. You moved on. In a young man's life, 3 years is almost another existence. Time had marched on. I was about to cross paths with Marco once more, packed, and moved to Edmonton again. Edmonton's Jasper Place High School was huge, thousands of students, and a campus bigger than most colleges. Said to be the largest high school west of Toronto, ample opportunity to become lost. Exactly what I was. Grade 10, and a little over a month of attending Jasper Place still had me unfamiliar with all the buildings and facilities. Decided to cut through one of the many gyms. School map indicated it would be a shorter path to my destination. Nothing going on inside except for some rowdies in a corner. Walking through the gym, something familiar about the guy standing on a table drew me near. Could have been his big melon or his confident voice as he mocked the performance of some poor soul, much to the delight of half a dozen laughing fans. Sure enough, Marco. I stood and watched for a few seconds. Same old Marco. We had both grown a few inches. Hairstyles has changed, but we were the same kids of years before. Hey, Litviak! From 15 feet away, he caught my gaze. We looked at each other. Marco continued his performance. I watched for a couple more seconds and thought of hollering, "It's me, McGale." Don't know what I expected in that moment. Marco to jump from his table/stage and greet me like a long lost pal, pick up where we left off. Quickly realized it wasn't going to happen. He didn't know me anymore.
Oh, that's so sad.
I turned and walked slowly from the gym. The sounds of laughter trailed behind. I realized you can never go back.
Oh.
2 weeks later, and a month and a half into grade 10, we packed and moved.
Oh.
This time to Devon, Alberta, 30 miles southwest of the big city of Edmonton. Decades later, I made inquiries with mutual acquaintances who knew both Randy S. and Marco Litviak. Third and fourth hand information gave me a spotty resume of both lives. Word on the street had Randy dropping out of high school and leading a life of crime.
Oh no.
Rumor said he robbed a gun store late one night and was surprised by two RCMP officers. Allegedly, Randy broke a cop's back before he could be subdued and cuffed.
Oh my gosh.
Years in and out of the Grey Bar Hotel could fit with Randy's persona. And Marco was told he pursued a career in medicine like many of his brothers, a surgeon with a habit of consuming any mind-altering drug or substance he could lay hands on.
Oh no.
I like to imagine a confident, easygoing doctor amidst the chaos of a modern hospital. Crackle of an intercom. Would Dr. Litviak please proceed to surgery? Storage closet bursts open, followed by a wisp of strange-smelling smoke. Out struts a cocksure, half-grinning surgeon off to save another life. Child's play. And me? I'm sitting at a rickety desk that has seen better days in a warm loft of a Buenos Aires apartment, surrounded by the chaos of big city traffic, writing about a world many lifetimes away.